What's going on? Make a little screencast on a tablet. Big fan of Bill O'Reilly, man. Freedom Day, Juneteenth, June 19th. I thought it was June 13th, but anyway. Calling myself. Oh no, I don't have internet access. So how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna do this? Screencast and I cannot swipe down. Internet. Is there a point? Is there a point? Let's see here if we can make a screencast today. So this is my X profile, Eldar Quotient, where I post a little bit about geopolitical diplomacy, politics, art, writing. You see at the top of my screen where if I could do anything in life, I'd be the Pope. Pope Exclusius the First, because I have been excluded from life, and I'd be the president of the USA. So there's some stuff. There's my Yahwism flag, Yahwism American flag. We're talking about a little bit about game design this morning, where I've done my first one was world building, where I did the planet Navarra for the world building campaign High Fantasia to use Tricolor D6. The next one was Giraffe Down. So the D20 kind of play system, full D20 set is called Speedwulf. Which if I could do anything in life, yeah, I'd make the Speedwulf anime. I mean, it'd be badass. Consume the darkness, get it out. So Speedwulf is based on a whole bunch of characters. As you can see, I told the president about it, man. President Trump. Sir, I have a diplomatic strategy for Ukraine versus Russia. No money for war. Don't give them any money for war. Oh, this is a diplomatic strategy based off a character named Solomon from Speedwulf, who is a common enemy. You know the story of Solomon? There were two women fighting over a baby. So he pulled out a sword and said, well, I'll just cut it in half. Y'all take one each home. He became a common enemy in that situation. He used wisdom to not cut the thing in half, and he figured out which one really deserved the baby. So first thing that comes up, and that's a real diplomatic strategy. Solomon is going to be a common enemy in this situation. Really, the thing takes place kind of in Eastern Europe. An anime in Eastern Europe. There's a anime title screen. It's about werewolves, man. About werewolves. They start off as dogs. The dogs have pups, and then a UFO. There's not enough food, there's not enough water, nobody to take care of them. So a UFO lands on a big gigantic hill in Eastern Europe, full of goodies, so that these puppies can become werewolves and have the time of their life, and they end up kind of getting into a war with each other over the female dog. And there's snap, Solomon steps in as a common enemy. It's just better than the trope of what happens in Wizard of Oz. So you see the Bible gets involved inside the UFO. It's basic instructions before leaving Earth. Bible. That's a little bit somebody else's idea. The one thing that the main character is not supposed to do is don't eat the mouse. Don't eat the mouse. You know, there's a lot of romance and intrigue and mystery involved in this. But when stuff goes down, when the stuff hits the fan, it's because he actually ate the mouse because he wanted to be a bodybuilder. And through the course of his bodybuilding, which doesn't last long, he loses kind of the ability to work. So here you see the main character as Victor. Got him a gun and some grenades and stuff. Main character here, and this is played with a full set of D20s. So it's not so meticulous about movement. and this and that, and there's not so meticulous about movement. The physics of movement and physics of the place and time don't matter as much. It's just pretty much standard. You're getting a chance to role play these characters. With D20, D10 is used for percentile shots, things like that. There's combat, things like that. If you wanted to role play it. The big thing is that I have written it as a prequel to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So this takes place in Eastern Europe, around Poland, in a fictional country called Chirac, Cherac, that is right across the border from a country called Montaigne, Montaigene. It takes place in Chirac, across the border from Montaigne. So try not to step on anybody's toes when it comes to actual countries. It takes place in post-World War II, Eastern Europe, Chirac. Yeah. Here's another character, level 99 priest. Carries the Pop Pistol 38 special. I apologize for a lot of Russian language, but going back to, I started thinking about this 3 years ago, right after, this was the one I originally thought of before High Fantasia, that I don't talk about a lot because it's very isolating. Was all these characters came to mind, and it really works. So a lot of Russian language comes up because I've been thinking about current events that happened 3 to 4 years after the fact of my initial vision of this comic book series slash anime slash role-playing game. So like I said, it's a prequel. It's like 1950s, 1960s, right before 1980s. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So we get Mercenary Unit Bebop, who is the sergeant of the Russian combat, Russian Boer Combat Grenadiers. Russian Boer Combat Grenadiers. Excuse my mania and my preaching. This is, like I said, politics. Jewish people's identity, hell yeah. I don't mess with those guys. So we don't have to get into some of these politics and other things. So here's Victor again. Is that it was kind of cool. They're werewolves, right? But sometimes they'll wear like a lion mask with their guns and stuff. And you see Russian Boer Grenadier, Combat Grenadier in the background. Now here's the Archon Prime antagonist. This actually has an antagonist. This is Heinrich, he is a dog, he is a werewolf. He is wearing his lion mask. He's kind of the tech communications hacker kind of guy. He originally starts out as a friend of the whole group, and I kind of have him become an antagonist towards Victor. So we have Heinrich versus Victor. Okay. There's the background on Bebop. Was that he was a Russian Boer combat Grenadier, and this says "Leave behind the kettlebell for war." So like I said, I've stated my piece on this war between Ukraine and Russia. I was like, NATO, man, don't give free gas for Ukrainian boats and stuff, because like I said, if we're going to use diplomacy to calm this thing down, we've got to be a common enemy to both Russia and Ukraine right now. Some morale patches. That is actually that boat right there actually is a Speedwulf. That is a Speedwulf boat. That's what it looks like. Now this is me. That I may or may not actually come up in the writing, but I just thought I'd make myself in the same aesthetic. I did go to college. I'm homeless right now, but That's me wearing my lion mask of the state Yahwism Lion of Judah mask. Now here's my favorite character. Heavy machine gun, or packed heavy machine gun, cord, special edition. This dude is a pug. The love interest in the story is very motherly, and she ends up making t-shirts for all these guys called Pact, P-A-C-T. And the pug, his kind of purpose in life is to build and wield heavy machine guns. And that's kind of heavy machine gun is I took it from the game Metal Slug, not Metal Gear, but Metal Slug. Like I said, these guys are in Chirac. Before they become werewolves, there's a giant UFO that lands on a mountain. It's full of like computers and phones and like jungle drum and bass music, all kind of fun stuff. All kind of fun stuff. There's Victor again, wearing a mask, shooting a gun. There's State Mask Edition, and I thought I had posted some of the newer stuff that I made. I kind of wonder if that's it. That's it. All that I made this morning. I'll scroll way down. There's more to it. Side characters, parents of these these dogs of war. There we go. Condego. I said there's me. Condego General. Usually you would say General Condego, Sergeant this. I decided to put the title on the end, like Oisin King. I just put Condego General. The small dog shall guard the tape. So it's a romance. It's a romance, and you got to have friends. Somebody's got to have your back. So Condego's gonna guard the tape, man. You know, the mixtape. He's gonna guard the tape. Condego. He builds stuff. He builds like dog houses. This is supposed to be the love interest in the story. As the one who makes the werewolf dog who makes the Pact t-shirts. Now she's supposed to represent the American in the situation, the American military gal in the situation. But she's still over there in Chirac. She's making a Pact U.S. Armed Forces t-shirts. This was supposed to be Speedwulf's dad as defender of Jerusalem. He gets to wear the purple jiu-jitsu gi that is sleeveless. So pretty unique thing. Like I said, my favorite character though is Pug. He's the opposite of the voice of reason. The opposite of the voice of reason, because he's the berserker. He's the heavy machine gun man. Community hero. I forgot what that's an anti-tank heavy machine gun. So, and like I said, the Archon Prime antagonist is very much based on me. I decided to kind of write myself in as the antagonist here. That was 3 or 4 years ago. Some of my I'm really mad, really angry kind of person. I can't find a job or work. So I have said before that I will commit harakiri before I sit around and go to complete waste. Current events is Zelensky is from Ukraine. Apparently, Vladimir Putin did the crossing the Rubicon thing and decided to go into Ukraine here recently. And Zelensky got mad, started going to war with Russia. And recently, Zelensky sent missiles into Moscow and it hit a refinery. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know much. I don't know much about Russia. That's Stalin. But I'm seeing any more current events that happen to come up 3 or 4 years later. There was some. My choice in music and my flavor of my personal faith and religion is there because it's not really for kids. This is an attack. Ukraine attacked a bus and some of my preaching. Who can really solve the issue between Palestine and Israel? Because I think this is where Zelensky got hit Moscow with his long-range stuff. Hit a refinery. And I said sometimes the evidence of our actions that inform us of the true nature of our current life. I thought it was kind of cool. My choice in music, like I said, is it's not for kids, not for anyone under 21. That's why some of this stuff is here. Anyway, weird, a little bit of prophecy, a little bit of writing, art, game development, living on the street while trying not to get arrested. Peace.